And what do you do, Katie?
I'm the founder of FarmerTitan, and we're an AI-powered equipment management and team management platform for farmers.
What does that mean?
So effectively, you put a QR code on each piece of your equipment, you scan it, it makes it super easy for you to see when was the last time you changed your fuel filter number on these equipment. So farms have anywhere from 30 pieces of equipment to 500 pieces of equipment, and they don't know what's being done on them. They have anywhere from 3 employees to 100. And right now it's currently being managed by notebooks and spreadsheets.
So what is the AI portion of this? Because we're talking like this is, a maintenance thing. Where's the AI and machine learning involved?
Yeah, so we're coming out with Farmer GPT, where all you have to do is talk into your phone. So you pretty much say, hey, I changed the oil on my JD X9 component, and then it logs it for you. So you don't have to go around and click anything. All you do is speak into your phone, which makes it really easy for the guys that are, 60 plus years, don't like using tech, their mechanics, their hands are greasy, so now they don't have to go around playing on their phone. All they gotta do is talk into the phone. So that's one component of it. And then we're also building in kind of your diagnostics and predictive alerts so that owners and managers will get, hit with the notification of, hey, you should change out this belt for $500 before it turns into a, $20,000 fix.
This is almost like medical tech. Like this sounds like an EPS system for a doctor that's going around so he doesn't, medical transcription, but diagnosing the farm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, you look at a machine, like, one machine could be anywhere from $100,000 to a top of the line combine goes for 1.2 million. So if you think about farms, and the amount of asset value that they have, right, that effectively right now, they're not sure it's being taken care of, right? It's like almost like an insurance policy to make sure that your machines are actually being taken care of. And then the bigger problem is like you pay so much money for all these machines. And then there's really like, on a grain farm or a potato farm, there's 2 points in the season, really like your seeding time and your harvest time where it's go time. And so now if your machine is not up and running and it's harvest time and you have all of your expenses in the field and now it's time to harvest it, and you can't use your machine because it's not ready for XYZ reasons, that costs the farm a lot of money in downtime. Yeah.
The target audience for this, I assume, is not Monsanto and large industrial farms, but it's the small family farmer or the corporate farmer. Like what is who's your customer?
Yeah, farmers of all size. Obviously, we're solving a bigger problem for bigger farms. Any farm that has more than 60 assets is definitely a very, very easy sell for us. Just because, they just got too many pieces of equipment to manage it. Smaller farms, we're still a great fit for them. We're kind of almost like their tractor facts because you can very easily see all your equipment history log, get down to your cost per asset very easily. But it is easier for a smaller farm, because there's just less people and less machines to keep track of in your head or notebooks or spreadsheets. But definitely like the larger farms with more employees and more pieces of equipment. We're solving a big problem for them.
What were you doing before FarmerTitan?
I grew up on a farm in Canada. I went down to Miami on a beach volleyball scholarship, and then I worked in venture capital down there. And then I worked at a Series B Colombian tech company. They had just raised 58 million and were scaling super quick. And then I went back to our family farm about 3.5, 4 years ago to help on the finance business office side of things, less on the operation side. But then just kind of getting back into the industry, I saw the problem we were having on our farm. It was just my dad was just, we were having a lot of repair bills and, some downtime. And the comment was, are we actually taking care of our machines? And so I called a bunch of other farms and they all had the same problem. So that was kind of like the step that started this journey with FarmerTitan. So,
Canadian farmer and beach volleyball star turned venture capitalist and CEO is a turn.
Yeah, not your typical career path. Definitely took some turns.
And so you're building this to solve a real problem that you found on your family's farm. How long have you been working on this problem?
I started paying my first developer about a year ago. And now we have a team of around 5 full-time. Just go down the path. We're adding more. And we got some awesome tech partners and it's been good. So our actual product's been in market since January. Yeah.
You picked a hell of a time to launch a tech company. If you're talking about a year old, like you hired your first developer a year ago, it was only 6 to 8 months ago that Claude Code, a lot of these new AI tech coding tools came out. Has this, have all of these new tools changed your approach or changed your tech development processes?
Yeah, no, great question. interesting time. But yeah, it definitely changes how you're thinking about your business model, right? Because at the end of the day, you think, oh, okay, like the cost to develop code has just gone down so much. So the breadth of which you can develop at a very quick rate has changed a lot. So it definitely changes how you're thinking about kind of your business model. It changes to, again, the speed at which you can develop. And then it just comes down to like the teams that know how to use these tools and execute and can get distribution pretty much are the teams that's going to win.
Where's the bottleneck for you right now? Like, is it you're in market? Is it in new features? Is it in product? Is it in sales? Like, where are you focusing your time?
Yeah, I think like any SaaS company, it's distribution. Again, just because of the rate at the speed at which you can develop code. It's just getting the word out there and get in front of more farms. So typically the comment that was made when I was just selling the other day was like, wow, like if you get a room of 20 guys, and you show them this exact demo of what you guys have built, like 19 of them will buy. Was pretty much what he said, quote for word quote. And so it's just getting in front of people is kind of our issue right now.
So how much time are you spending traveling to the Iowas, the Nebraskas, the Ohio, America Farm Belt?
The way I see it in my business, I probably have like a 2-3 year window of opportunity to get the distribution that we need. Selling farm to farm probably won't get to the level of distribution that we need. So we're working at some plays with some distribution partners in the ecosystem to try to get us in front of more farms at a faster rate. So, but yeah, definitely I've gone to a lot of trade shows, going to more trade shows, but we definitely have kind of some other strategies to get distribution. Yeah.
All right, so you said you were working for, you have 5 developers now. You are working for a Colombian venture capital firm. Where, are your people here? Are you fully distributed?
Yeah. No, just to clarify, the venture capital firm was in Miami. The Colombian tech company I worked for, it was a scale up there, Series B. Yeah, so that was a little different. But yeah, my first developer was actually Colombian, and it came through it came through the old company that I worked for. And so yeah, my team's distributed everywhere. Some in Colombia, one in Argentina, some in Miami, in Canada, one in Madrid. And so we're kind of distributed everywhere. Yeah. Sorry, I missed the question.
Here's one of the problems with my interview style is I tend to start thinking out loud, and you don't actually necessarily know what my question is until I get to the end of it. It annoys everyone in my life, but is what it is. You're building a team right now. You're building a team in this age of AI when everything has changed. You've scaled up your development team. How have these new tools changed kind of how you approach team building at this point?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think what's interesting in the software industry is that your kind of top, 5% of developers just got really expensive. And then there's kind of like the long tail of other. So the top developers now with AI and everything going on, they're like 10xing their abilities. And so if you kind of take an average developer and 10x it, you could almost 10x code that's not written correctly. It almost creates bigger problems. But like your top percent of developers are 10xing. So I think it's like really, really finding the people and the talent that you want on your team, and then giving them the objective and letting them run with it. Because the amount that they can achieve with the tools that they have available to them is incredible, both on the tech side and on the business side, right? Like I think that if you, as a professional in the industry, aren't learning how to use Claude Cowork, like there's just no way you can compete with someone who has that superpower in their toolkit effectively. So I think that it's like finding the very, very high aptitude people that are very motivated, and all you have to do is kind of give them an objective and they run with it. And then they'll figure it out, right? But it's just figuring out who are the people that you want on the ship with you, building the boat as you're trying to row it at the same time, kind of thing. And they'll figure it out with the tools available to them.
So it's more a product-oriented mindset as opposed to, I don't need someone with specific engineering skills. Everyone's got those engineering skills now. I need someone who just figures stuff out.
Yeah, on the tech side of things, it's definitely like your top developers and your top engineering skills. Yeah, you want to make sure that you're looking for that and sourcing for that. Because you're just 10xing the skill set they already have. So if their skill set is really good, now they become like 10x amazing. Whereas if their skill set is like, their logic is in the sound or whatever it is, you're kind of just 10xing that, right? Which I mean, net, this developer still is really great, but you want to find the top developers from the technical side of things. And then from the business side of things, yeah, finding the people with high aptitude and can kind of find an objective, run with it, and execute on it.
Are you finding, one thing I've heard a lot from tech leaders as they're developing this product and the velocity they're able to push new product is that, well, now we got to QA it and now we got to make sure that the customer actually wants all of these features that we're rolling out. Yeah. How are you dealing with that?
Yeah, great question. Yeah, I think there's definitely like an implementation side of things at the speed at which you can develop. And then two, so before I started FarmerTitan, and I was talking to 100 different farmers, and, the number one thing that they said about, any kind of app to help them manage things was like, it can't be too complicated. And I think it's almost like a shiny object syndrome is like, I can build all this stuff so quick, so fast. But if you get into the app and there's 20 billion things that you could do and you have a Lamborghini, but you just need a Ford, and that's what most of our farmers and our customers want is like super, super, super simple. So for us, it's saying very, very focused and disciplined and like really, really listening to the customer because they ultimately will drive the decisions. So yeah, I would say it's almost the discipline and focus of like making sure that you're really truly listening to your customer and then you're building the thing that your customer actually wants without getting too overly complicated, at least in our business, right? Because in our business, our secret sauce is the fact that we are so simple to use that, the guy in the shop who has greasy fingers and hates tech, can just go in there in 2 seconds, see exactly what they need to do.
How do you keep your engineers on task? Because you've got a background in farming, they might not.
Yeah, good question. I don't know if I've yet mastered that 100%. Sometimes we'll go off all rabbit trails and I'll have to, bring it back in. And it is actually really interesting. What I didn't realize before I left the farm is like, I never really wanted to be a part of agriculture. And then, circumstances, I did come back to the farm. And once I go back to agriculture, I realized like kind of the lottery that I was given by birth, like it's only like really 1% of the population, I think, that, would have the opportunity to like work on a farm or actually like have a farm. And so that's given me a unique like lens because I really, really, truly understand the users and understand farm. So it is funny in talking to the tech team because they'll think of something that the farm needs and kind of like miss the mark just because they haven't had that experience. So it's like the onus is on me to make sure that I'm, clearly communicating and like explaining and showing kind of the customer journey. And then we do as much as we can to get our developers actually talking to our customers and users so that they see firsthand, who they're developing it for. When I originally started, I would like film my dad using like the beta versions of what we were doing. And then I would take that video and send it over to my developer and he'd be like, oh yeah, we need some bigger buttons here. And I'm like, yeah, big buttons.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine an audience segment that is more specific than farmers have to be able to use this. And not just farmers, 60-year-old farmers need to be able to use this.
Yeah.
Do you have you started with your father. Do you have like a core group of here's 10 I have 10 farmers I'm going to use for this?
Yeah. I'm talking to our users constantly. So always talking to our users. You do the onboarding, you go on farm, and there's an onboarding call that I was on, and it was kind of like the oldest guy in the group, and he clearly did not want it. Like everyone else was excited, or maybe excited, maybe not excited, but he was clearly the guy that was like, I don't want to use this app. And we'd gone through the whole user onboarding, and at the end of it, he's like, oh, that actually wasn't that bad. I was like, yes. And he had told me a story where like when he was in school, that's when like the typewriters came out and they needed to learn how to do the typewriting. And so, yeah, it's just, you just have those experiences. And I think it's just, obsessing over the fact that this thing has to be so simple and easy to use. It's just for our business. That's what's most important. And that's why we're really bullish on FarmerGPT, just because then all you got to do is just talk into it, which is like a natural habit and behavior, right? Because like oftentimes my dad wants to know something, he'll pick up the phone and call like our office gal, and then she'll tell me information. So now instead of calling the office gal, you're just asking your FarmerGPT.
And that's, I mean, are you going to make FarmerGPT available to other people? Like theoretically, askafarmer.com. Like I have questions about gardening, building. I have an acre. What am I going to do with this thing?
I mean, I hadn't thought about it, but maybe, I don't know.
That's kind of what I'm trying to do with this whole like CTO and CEO thing. We're going to ask all these people. We're going to put it out there, and then if you have a question, you can ask them. I don't, need to ask me. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'd have to think about that a little bit. I know like our, stance in terms of data is like, it is the farmer's data. And so, yeah, I'd probably have to think about it a little bit more, but it is like, because it's kind of their corpus of information, and their knowledge. But yeah, don't have to think about it a little bit, but we are taking the stance that it is.
I mean,
like
I
the
know that
farm's
there's a
data.
concern about
Yeah.
younger farmers coming into the market, and not enough people to take over family farms.
Yeah, I think they always quote the stat that, 40% of farmers are retiring in the next 5 years. And, the next generation coming in, like farming it's a really risky industry. It's like really hard work. I didn't really want to come back to the farm. So, but when we think about that, like our whole entire food system is dependent on farmers. You got 40% retiring. Now what's going to happen is you'll have bigger corporate farms buying out all the smaller farms. That's probably what's going to happen, is just a consolidation of the industry. But yeah, that's a pretty big daunting stat when you think about it. So
I mean, you could be leading the charge. It used to be learn to code. All of these coders are out of work. Learn to farm. I mean,
yeah, there you go. Well, that's what I think is hilarious. I mean, in this age of AI, it's not really the blue collar jobs that are at risk, right? It's the white collar. So yeah, it's just kind of interesting. So you think about the trades. Like if I was a young person right now, I would tell young people to get into the trades, because it's gonna be a lot longer till any of that is taken away, and the price of that is gonna go up relative, or maybe not go up, but your cost of like white collar service is just gonna go down, 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 right? Because yeah, just AI can do most of it when you come to like white collar industries.
that worry you?
Pardon me?
Does that worry you at all?
Me, no. I don't, because I'm like embracing it. And I think awesome. Like, I think the opportunity is available if you're understanding how to harness it and like really embrace it and use it. But I think for the people out there who aren't embracing it and aren't learning what are the limits and how can I use this, incorporate this into my like white collar job kind of thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, maybe. I think about, yeah, like maybe the younger generation, I think if you're in college and you use ChatGPT to get you through college, like you'll be fine going to the workforce, but it's like, can maybe this section of like people who didn't grow up with it and aren't embracing with it, that I think there might be a pull on like society in terms of, because yeah, I don't know what exactly their role will be if they aren't embracing it and using it, because there's no way they can compete with someone who is using it.
It's a weird time.
It's a weird time. Like I'm kind of curious to see what's gonna happen in the next couple of years for sure.
Why'd you settle in Austin?
I was splitting time between Winnipeg and Miami. Texas is a little bit more agricultural, and I think there's like, if you want to be the best, you kind of go where the best play, and there's SF, there's New York, and there's Austin, and I just really like the people here. I think the people are great. There's the serendipity of running into other entrepreneurs or founders in the tech scene. There's just been a lot of opportunities that come just from the place that you're living in. And it's just kind of people are down to earth and looking for a place to settle down, and Austin just seemed like a good fit.
Any good farm tech, other companies down here?
You know what? I would say I thought there'd be a better ag tech scene in Austin. I wouldn't say the ag tech scene is great. I think there's actually a pretty good ag tech scene up in Canada, like in actually kind of Saskatchewan's pretty good, and Calgary. And so I wouldn't say an ag tech, agricultural tech, know my accent. So I definitely think there could be more agriculture down here in Austin.
Yeah, I imagine Des Moines is more of a centralized hub for it than Austin is.
Yeah, the Midwest kind of thing. But I don't know. I like Austin. The weather's really nice too. That's a big benefit. Like where I'm from, Winnipeg, it gets to like minus 35 Celsius in winter. It's just really cold.
You were the first out of 100 people that we've interviewed who's actually said, Austin's weather's great.
Well, to be fair, I'll probably leave for summer. But I love winter. I really love winter.
Options are a good thing.
Yeah.
How do you even get Winnipeg from here? Chicago? What's the transfer?
Yeah, Chicago. I think Minneapolis sometimes. Denver sometimes. Yeah, no direct flight, unfortunately. It would be really nice if there was a direct flight.
Build up the ag tech scene and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, FarmerTitan first.
The speed at which all of this is changing on the tech side is incredibly quick. It's about every 2 weeks, something new is coming out, whether that's Anthropic just shipped 4.8, which was the shortest term fast release that they've done. At the same time, the state of Florida just sued OpenAI because they're worried about that. Is there anything about the speed of this change that concerns you? Because you're working in an old school industry, like the oldest school industry.
Yeah. No, I think it's like, what are the unintended consequences, of some of the stuff that's coming out, or the stuff that you don't know, because it's just, this is a new experiment that's coming out at a pace that's super fast. I do think that competition is a good thing. I do think that it's great that there's, multiple AI companies fighting for like the same. I think if power was consolidating to the hands of one, that would be even more concerning. So like I'm just, a big believer in the free markets and just making sure there's lots of actors, because then I think competition will win out. Being in an older industry, it actually kind of helps almost as like a hedge, right? Because at the end of the day, all this tech can come out, but really like it's the pace of adoption, right? Is like, are the users adopting it, right? And so it kind of, if you think about vibe coding, are farmers going to vibe code platforms for their own farms? I mean, maybe not, probably less likely in the farming industry versus maybe another industry. So I think it is really kind of like the pace at which, humans will adapt to the technology that's coming out will be the limiting factor at how fast the technology gets adopted. So, but in terms of how we're thinking about it in our product, it's like, how do we use these tools available, and then package it into a way to our existing customer that mimics their natural behavior. Does that make sense?
It does. What is your, hoped growth trajectory for this? You went from one developer last year, you're at 5 developers now.
Yeah.
Lord knows we need food. Like, how big do you hope to get with this?
Yeah, from the FarmerTitan lens, for me, it's always just been about playing the game of business. So I just think it's fun to take a big swing. And I think when you take a big swing, that's when you can have the ability to actually like impact an industry. For farmers, there's a lot of money on the table, especially when it comes to repairs and maintenance and cost of capital and buying. Like they're huge. I'd say that farmers, especially grain farmers and potato farmers, like they're more investors than they are farmers, just because you think about the massive amount of capex that they have to do between their equipment, between their land. This farming thing on top is just kind of a fun little thing that you do on top, but really you're an investor. And so I think that there's a big opportunity to actually help farms, save money and net make, agriculture a little bit more productive and, help the bottom line profit for farmers. So it's one about, I think when you take a little bit bigger of a swing, you have a higher probability to actually impact the industry in a good way.
Now, people are so separate from their food.
Yeah.
You speak about farmers being investors, and I feel like you could swing a dead cat here without hitting an angel who would have no idea. Oh, what do you mean they're investors? Like, is anyone doing like, let me take you in, let me show you what this thing is, like to really just demonstrate to the tech investors here, the farm, the SaaS people, all of the engineers, like this is the baseline of human civilization was built on this industry. Mm-hmm. These people have there's opportunity here. There is growth opportunity here. Let's educate.
You're saying from the investor side of things, like from the consumer side of things?
Do you like educating? Like you're in Austin, Texas.
Yeah.
Your average capital factory bro or cryptocurrency guy has no idea about this world. Yeah. Do you ever take them on that journey?
Yeah, I love it. That's one of my favorite things. I love the fact that, like, from a personal standpoint, I have kind of like one foot in the farming blue collar industry and then like one foot in the white collar like tech industry. So it's kind of like marrying those two worlds, I think is really fun. Because I think, the regular consumer and the regular tech bro, they have no idea about how, sophisticated these modern farming operations are, especially the larger corporate farms. Like, like I worked in VC and I saw a lot of business models, and like even our own company, like I think FarmerTitan is a lot less complicated business than our farm, to be honest. And so, I think it's just, and no fault of like kind of the modern day consumer. I don't think the agriculture industry has done a great job of branding themselves. I think that farmers to some degree are super humble people and they're really big executors because the incentives of the industry, if I'm in the finance industry and the tech industry, I'm constantly having to sell myself or sell a story or sell a vision or sell something. So inherently the incentives of the industry is I'm constantly selling. Whereas farming, you almost don't want to. Your incentives is like you just have to execute. If you don't get the seed in the field, right, and then if you don't harvest it after, you're not eating, right? It's kind of you live and die by your own execution, and so it's a very humble industry, which I think is beautiful and it's awesome, but it's also almost to the detriment of agriculture, just because I think that it would do good to get a little better PR out there, I'd say.
Do you try to act as a farmer evangelist a little bit?
I mean, maybe that's what it'll turn into. I think that's like kind of a side quest a little bit with FarmerTitan is, showing people how cool agriculture is. And then it's funny, I was at like a panel and people were talking about farmers, and it was almost like they're this creature of like this unknown species that people didn't know about. Like, like farmers are people, and they're smart, they're super entrepreneurial, and they're big executors. And so it's cool. Just, yeah, I think would like to show the world like how awesome farmers are and how cool the industry is, for sure. Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. Thank you.